Hey guys, I'm Isaac Ness and welcome to my series River Guide, where I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to get out on some of the best rivers in the US and start catching fish. In today's video, we're going to be covering the Nantahala in western North Carolina. But before we dive into the video, do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button and drop a comment below letting me know which river I should be covering next. The Nantahala River is a freestone stream in western North Carolina and is considered by many to be the best trout stream in the state. Trout Unlimited lists this river on its top 100 US trout streams, further establishing its place as a great river. The main stem of the Nantahala is a dam-controlled river, meaning the temperatures stay in the right range for trout to grow year-round. The result of this is lots of big fish. Proving that point even further is the fact that the North Carolina state record brown trout was caught in the Nantahala and weighed over 24 pounds. In this video, I'm going to break the Nantahala down from its headwaters all the way down through where it flows into Fontana Lake. I'll share where the best access points are, what regulations you need to know, what gear you should bring there, and finally I'm going to walk you through even how to catch fish on this river in any given day. Alright, so starting off with where the Nantahala is located in western North Carolina, right outside the town of Nantahala, and it's about an hour-and-a-half drive west of Asheville. Getting there is pretty simple. You take 40 west until you hit 74 west, you stay on that all the way until you get to the river. Once you are there are going to be 4 different sections of river you can target with different designations. The first stretch is the headwaters of the Nantahala and its tributaries located above Nantahala Lake. The Nantahala starts its course as a series of small streams converging together in Nantahala National Forest. Most of these streams are very small but are considered wild trout waters and have healthy populations of brook trout and brown trout in them. The main headwater stream to fish here would be the Nantahala itself, which can be accessible off of Rainbow Springs Road. You can fish these streams year-round and keep up to 4 fish that are 7 inches or greater in length. Some streams may require you to use single hook artificial flies and lures only, while other ones may allow you to use natural bait, so be sure to look for the markers that are on the side of the stream. If you're not sure what the designation is for the stream, just err on the side of caution. These streams are great for smaller tackle with a 2 to 4 weight fly rod recommended. Despite these streams being open year-round, the best fishing is going to take place here from late spring to early fall when the water finally warms and gets above 50 degrees. This section of the Nantahala is great for blue liners that are looking to catch native brook trout in the warm summer months on dry droppers. Below the dam on Nantahala Lake is considered to be the upper Nantahala and is where the more popular section of the fishing begins. This section of the stream from the dam downriver to the confluence with White Oak Creek is classified as hatchery-supported trout waters with no size or bait restrictions and a creel limit of 7 trout per day. Hatchery-supported trout rivers are marked with green and white signs. Access to the section is primarily along Old River Road. This section of the river has good numbers of fish and a great mix of long flat pools along with steep plunges, but it can be very slow flowing at some points. Next up is the section of White Oak Creek to the powerhouse. From the confluence with White Oak Creek downriver to the Duke Energy Plant is classified as delayed harvest trout waters, which may be fished with only artificial flies and lures with 1 single hook. You cannot use natural bait in this section, and no fish may be kept here between October and June. Because this water is catch and release for so much of the year, it is by far the most popular stretch of the river for anglers to target. Despite that pressure, this section of the river does fish really well and has lots of large trout in it. Luckily, there are plenty of good pools to fish throughout this section, so you can usually find a spot despite the crowds. The upper Nantahala from the dam all the way down through the power station fishes really well year-round, but it's probably best from October through June when the water temps are between 45 to 65 degrees and when that second half of it is underneath that delayed harvest designation. Recommended gear for this section is a 4 to 5 weight fly rod and a standard 9-foot leader with 3 to 5x tippet. This section is stocked periodically and the fish are not picky but will flies they'll eat close to those times. Typically they'll readily eat a San Juan worm, an egg fly, a Pat's rubber legs, or really any other nymph that's size 12 to 16. If it has been a while since it was last stocked, the fish may start to get picky and start to key into smaller size 14 to 18 nymphs. As a final resort, if you're really having trouble hooking fish, try adding a size 18 to 22 midge on the bottom of your setup. Regardless of what you are fishing, with the deeper plunge pools that are in this section, you will want to set your nymphs deep and try adding some weight to get them down to the bottom where the fish are. Hatches do occur on this section, but they're rarely dense enough for the fish to really key into any one bug. Standard elk hair caddis or parachute Adams in a variety of sizes and colors will typically get the job done. Fish here will also chase and eat streamers, so don't overlook tying one on. The final part of the Nantahala is the lower Nantahala, which flows along the floors of the Nantahala Gorge downstream of the power plant along Highway 74. This section is also classified as hatchery-supported trout waters with no size or bait restrictions and a creel limit of 7 trout per day. The lower Nantahala is home to some of the best whitewater rafting in the state, and throughout the summer months experiences a lot of traffic from rafts and kayaks. While you can float to fish this section, you will need a smaller raft and some pretty good whitewater experience to do so, as there are more than 29 named rapids on this section, ranging from a Class 1 all the way up to a Class 3 at the largest. Whether you are rafting or fishing, it's important to keep in mind the dam release schedule on this part of the river. From March through October, Duke Energy schedules its power generation operations to provide flow releases for the lower Nantahala's rafting and kayaking activities. While the schedule varies from month to month, the river is generally turned on mid-morning and turned off late afternoon, which will change the flow and the level of the river drastically. I will note that the upper Nantahala above the power plant is completely separate and is unaffected by Duke Energy's releases. While there are challenges to fishing this section of the river, the lower Nantahala is well known for its large brown and rainbow trout. The hazards to fishing here could be rising water levels, very fast currents, and even trying to fish between rafters and kayakers. But don't worry, the fish are pretty used to the rafters and kayakers, so the fishing's not going to be compromised even when they're floating down. In this stretch, you'll want to target the slower, deeper pools and use plenty of weight to get your flies down really deep. Because the fish in this stretch don't see as much pressure as they do upstream, they don't tend to be as picky and will typically eat a well-presented fly if you can get it in front of them. With some of the biggest trout in the stream living in the lower Nantahala, this is a great place to tie on a streamer and try fishing it. I will also note that this is the only section of river in the entire state of North Carolina where night fishing is allowed. Overall, the beautiful scenery and great fishing on this river definitely warrant a trip for anyone in the southeast who fly fishes. I hope this video helped you, and if you do get out on the Nantahala, please do drop a comment below letting us know how your fishing day went so we can keep this information as up to date as possible. If you want to see how I did fishing this river, check out the video that is on the screen now where I fish it with my buddy Zach. And if you want to learn to catch trout just way more consistently, check out my book where I break down step by step how to walk through your day of fishing to give you the best chance at catching fish in a given day. If you stayed all the way to the end of this video, come on, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and I'll show you a bunch more great content just like this.